The group chat died at 6:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. I was standing in my kitchen with cold coffee and the kind of silence that makes you check if your phone's working. 23 unread messages from yesterday. Family planning Thanksgiving, arguing about whose house, what time, who's bringing what. Normal chaos. Then nothing. I scrolled up. Last message was my daughter-in-law, Jennifer, at 11:34 p.m. We'll figure it out tomorrow. 3 people liked it. Not me. I'd been asleep. I set the phone down and poured the coffee into the sink. The house was quiet. Linda was still sleeping. 42 years of marriage, and I could tell when she was pretending versus actually out. This was actually out. Her breathing had that deep rhythm. I made fresh coffee and checked the phone again. Still nothing. That's when I knew. You don't go from 23 messages to 0 without a reason. You don't like a message that says, "We'll figure it out tomorrow," unless you've already figured it out. I opened my laptop and checked the business accounts. Everything looked normal. The LLC we'd set up for the rental properties, the equipment leasing company my son Brandon managed, the construction contracts under my brother Dave's name, but my credit. All there, all accessible. I closed the laptop. The phone buzzed. Text from Dave. "Can we talk?" I didn't respond. I drank coffee and watched the sun come up through the kitchen window. The neighborhood was waking up. Steve across the street getting into his truck. The Hendersons' dog barking at nothing. My phone buzzed again. "Dave, it's important." I typed back. "I'm here." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then a longer message came through. "Listen, this isn't easy. We had a family meeting last night. Me, Brandon, Jennifer, and Mom. We've been talking for a while about the business structure and how things are set up. We think it's time to restructure some things, make it cleaner, more professional. We've decided to move forward without you in the operational side. You'll still get your initial investment back, but we're buying you out of the active role. Papers are being drawn up. We'll have them to you by Friday." I read it twice. Then I read it again. The wording was corporate, sanitized. "We've decided." Not "we're considering" or "we wanted to discuss." Past tense, done deal. I looked at the timestamp. 6:52 a.m. He'd been awake, waiting to send this. Probably wrote it last night with everyone watching. Made sure the phrasing was right. Made sure it sounded reasonable. I opened the laptop again. This time I went deeper. I checked the operating agreements, the personal guarantees I'd signed when we couldn't get conventional financing, the lease contracts with my name as primary, the equipment loans with my credit history as collateral. Everything was still active. They wanted to restructure without me, but they hadn't restructured any of the liability. I pulled up the bank accounts. The LLC had $240,000 in it. Not huge, but enough to cover 3 months of operations. Equipment payments, lease obligations, payroll for the 2 guys Brandon had hired. I checked the signature authority. Still me. Only me. They'd set it up that way 2 years ago when we started. Brandon didn't have the credit score. Dave had a bankruptcy from 2008 still on his record. Jennifer wasn't family yet, just dating Brandon. So it went through me. I was the keystone, and they were trying to remove me without removing the keystone. I sat back and laughed. Actually laughed. Quiet, so I wouldn't wake Linda, but genuine. They'd practiced this. Probably ran through the whole conversation multiple times. How to break it to me. How to frame it so I'd feel included in the decision. "We're buying you out." Like I was an investor who'd served his purpose. But they'd moved too fast. They thought I was the old man. The guy who signed papers because family asked. The guy who co-signed loans because that's what fathers do. The guy who wouldn't check the details because he trusted his son. I opened a new email. To First Republic Bank. Business accounts. Subject, operational hold request. I kept it simple, professional. Requested a temporary hold on all outgoing transactions over $5,000 pending ownership restructure. Cited the operating agreement section about material changes in partnership structure. Asked for a callback to discuss timeline. Sent it at 7:03 a.m. Then I opened another email. To Wayland Equipment Leasing Subject. Lease Agreement, number 4421. Administrative Update. Same tone, same phrasing. Informed them of pending ownership changes. Requested confirmation that all lease obligations would be reassigned before any structural changes took effect. Mentioned that as primary leaseholder, I needed documentation before authorizing any operator changes. Sent at 7:06 a.m. Third email. To Brandon's commercial landlord. I didn't copy Brandon. I went straight to the property management company. Subject, lease renewal discussion. I mentioned that I'd be interested in discussing options when the current lease term ended, asked about renewal rates, casually noted that I was reviewing all my co-signed obligations and wanted to make sure we had good terms locked in. Sent at 7:09 a.m. I made a fresh pot of coffee. Linda would be up soon. I'd tell her then. Not everything. Just enough. The phone buzzed. Brandon. Dad, can you call me? I looked at the message. Didn't respond. Another buzz. Dave, did you get my text? I set the phone face down on the counter. At 7:15 a.m., the bank's automated system sent a confirmation email. Transaction hold activated. Review period, 48 hours. Required documentation, ownership structure verification, operating agreement amendments, updated signature authority. The phone started ringing. Brandon. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again immediately. Dave, voicemail. A text from Jennifer. Hey, can you call Brandon? He's trying to reach you. I poured another cup of coffee and sat at the kitchen table. The sun was fully up now. The house smelled like coffee and the faint detergent smell Linda used on the kitchen towels. My phone showed 6 missed calls, then a group text appeared. Not the family chat. A new one. Just Dave, Brandon, and Jennifer. Brandon. He locked the accounts. Dave. What? Jennifer. How can he do that? Brandon. He's primary on everything. I just got a call from the bank. I watched the messages appear in real time. Dave. Call him. Brandon. I did. 6 times. Jennifer. This is insane. I typed a response. 1 message. Sent it to the old family group chat, not the new one. I got your message about moving forward without me. I respect that decision. I've initiated the process to remove myself from all financial obligations related to the business. Should be complete in 48 hours. Let me know when you have the buyout papers ready. I hit send, then I muted the group chat and set the phone down. It started ringing again within 30 seconds. Brandon, Dave, Brandon, Jennifer, Brandon. I walked upstairs. Linda was awake, sitting up in bed with her reading glasses on, looking at her phone. She looked up at me. The family chat is going crazy, she said. I know. What did you do? I sat on the edge of the bed. They tried to cut me out. I cut them off first. She was quiet for a moment. Then she took off her glasses. How bad? Not bad yet, but it will be if they don't fix it. Can they fix it? Not without me. She nodded slowly. You want breakfast? Sure. We went downstairs together. The phone was still ringing on the kitchen counter. I turned the ringer off and left it there. Linda made scrambled eggs and toast. We ate without talking much. She knew better than to ask questions when I was thinking. At 8:30 a.m., someone knocked on the front door. I looked through the window. Brandon's truck in the driveway. Him on the porch, looking at his phone, looking up at the door. I opened it. He looked tired. His hair was messy. He was still wearing the same clothes from yesterday. I recognized the shirt. Dad. Morning. Can I come in? Sure. He followed me to the kitchen. Linda was loading the dishwasher. She glanced at him, didn't say anything, and went upstairs. Brandon sat at the table. I stayed standing, leaning against the counter with my coffee. You locked us out, he said. I initiated a standard administrative hold pending ownership restructure. That's protocol. That's not protocol. That's you being pissed. I'm not pissed. Then what are you? I took a sip of coffee. Careful. He stared at me. We were going to talk to you about it. You did talk to me about it, this morning, through Dave. Very professional. That wasn't supposed to be how you found out. How was I supposed to find out? He didn't answer. I set the coffee down. You had a meeting without me, made a decision without me, drafted a message without me, had Dave send it without calling first. That's how I found out, because that's how you wanted it to go. Jennifer thought it would be easier if... I don't care what Jennifer thought. His jaw tightened. Don't do that. Do what? Make this about her. I'm not making it about anyone. I'm responding to what happened. You're sabotaging us. I'm removing myself like you asked, cleanly, legally, exactly like you'd want. We need access to the accounts. You'll have it, once the restructure is complete. We have equipment payments due Friday. Then you should have started this process last month. He stood up. This is bullshit. Watch your mouth. You're acting like we betrayed you. You excluded me from a family meeting about my own business interests. What would you call it? Practical. You're not involved day to day anymore. It made sense to streamline things. Then streamline your liability too. Take the loans, take the leases, take the personal guarantees, then do whatever you want. He went quiet. I picked up my coffee again. That's the part you didn't think through, isn't it? We'll handle it. Good, handle it. I'll wait. He stared at me for a long moment. Then he walked out. Didn't say goodbye. Slammed the door hard enough that I heard Linda's footsteps upstairs. I watched through the window as he got in his truck and sat there for a minute, phone to his ear. Then he pulled out fast enough to leave rubber on the street. Linda came back down. How'd it go? She asked. About how you'd expect? She poured herself more coffee. You know this is going to get worse. I know. You ready for that? I thought about it. About the group chat going silent. About Dave's corporate phrasing. About Brandon's tired eyes and defensive anger. About Jennifer's name in every decision. Yeah, I said. I'm ready. She nodded. Didn't try to talk me out of it. 42 years. She knew when I'd made up my mind. My phone was still face down on the counter. I picked it up and checked the notifications. 47 missed calls, 63 text messages. I scrolled through them quickly. Most were variations of the same thing. Call me. We need to talk. This isn't fair. You're being unreasonable. One from Dave stood out. You're making this personal when it's just business. I typed back, it was personal the moment you had the meeting without me. Sent. Then I blocked the group chat notifications and put the phone in my pocket. Linda was watching me. What? I said. Nothing. Just wondering how far you're planning to take this. As far as it needs to go. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have right now. She studied my face for a moment, then shrugged. Okay. Okay? I'm with you. Whatever you decide. But you need to know what you're doing before you do it. I know. Do you? I didn't answer right away. I thought about the bank hold, the equipment leasing email, the landlord inquiry, small moves, defensive, reactive. They'd started this by excluding me. I'd responded by protecting myself. But that's not where this was going to end. I could feel it. The way Brandon looked at me in the kitchen, the way Dave's text read like a legal brief, the way Jennifer's name kept appearing. This wasn't about business restructure. This was about removing me. And if they wanted me gone, they'd have to earn it. Yeah, I said finally. I know. Linda kissed my cheek and went back upstairs. I stood in the kitchen alone, drinking cold coffee, watching the neighbors go about their normal Tuesday. The phone buzzed in my pocket. I didn't check it. Before we continue, hit the hype button, subscribe, and like the video to help the channel grow. Tell us which city you are from in the comments. We'd love to get to know our audience better. The hardware store was quiet at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday. I needed space to think, and my house felt too small with Linda watching me like I was about to explode. I walked the aisles slowly, tools I didn't need, paint chips I wasn't comparing, just moving, thinking, planning. My phone buzzed every few minutes. I'd glance at it. Brandon, Dave, Jennifer, a number I didn't recognize, probably Dave calling from work. I let them all ring through. At the end of the power tools aisle, I stopped and actually looked at what was in front of me. Drills, impact drivers, circular saws. Brandon had bought most of his equipment through my account at this store. Contractor pricing. My credit. He'd racked up about $8,000 worth over 2 years, always saying he'd pay me back when things got profitable. Things got profitable 6 months ago. I never saw a payment. I pulled out my phone and opened the store's app, checked the account. Sure enough, my name was still primary. Brandon was authorized user. There was a pending order from yesterday. $200 in materials, scheduled for pickup Friday. I canceled it. Then I called the store's commercial desk. Hi, this is Tom Carter. Account 4782. I need to remove an authorized user. The woman on the phone was pleasant, professional. She verified my identity, pulled up the account, made the change. Took 3 minutes. All set, Mr. Carter. Brandon Carter has been removed from account 4782. Is there anything else I can help you with? That's all, thanks. I hung up and kept walking. The phone rang immediately. Brandon. I answered this time. Yeah? What the hell, Dad? Morning. You canceled my material order. I did. I need that for the Riverside job. Then you should order it on your own account. I don't have commercial pricing. You should get it. Silence on his end. Then, you removed me from your account. I'm removing myself from all our joint obligations, like you wanted. That's not what I wanted. Really? Because the message Dave sent said you were moving forward without me. I'm just helping you move forward. This is childish. This is practical. You said it yourself this morning. Streamlining. You know I can't get approved for that kind of credit. That's not my problem anymore. Jesus Christ, Dad. I hung up. The phone immediately started ringing again. I silenced it and put it back in my pocket. An older guy in a store vest was restocking shelves nearby. He'd been there the whole time, probably heard everything. He glanced at me, nodded slightly, went back to work. I walked to the front of the store and left. Outside, the parking lot was mostly empty. My truck was parked in the back corner. I got in and sat there for a minute, engine off, watching people go in and out of the store. My phone showed 12 missed calls. I opened my email instead. New message from First Republic Bank. Subject, account hold. Additional documentation required. I scanned it. Standard procedure. They needed updated operating agreements showing the ownership restructure before they could release the hold. Without it, the 48-hour hold would extend to 10 business days pending legal review. I forwarded the email to Brandon and Dave without comment. Then I checked the equipment leasing company's response. They'd replied within an hour. Very professional. Confirmed that lease agreement number 4421 required primary leaseholder approval for any operator changes. Requested meeting to discuss transition timeline. Noted that current lease term had 6 months remaining. I forwarded that too. Third email was from the property management company. They'd been even faster. Thanked me for reaching out. Confirmed that my cosigner status on the commercial lease gave me certain rights regarding renewal terms. Mentioned that current market rates were 18% higher than what Brandon was paying now. I didn't forward that one. I saved it. The phone rang again. Dave this time. I answered. Tom, we need to talk. I'm listening. Not on the phone, in person. I'm busy. Doing what? Running errands. Tom, what do you need, Dave? He was quiet for a moment. I heard voices in the background. Office sounds. He was at work. You're backing us into a corner, he said finally. I'm responding to the corner you put me in. That's not what happened. A group meeting without me isn't a corner? It was supposed to be preliminary. We were going to bring you in once we had a framework. You brought me in with a done deal and a buyout offer, because we knew you'd fight us on the details. So you made the details without me. More background noise. A door closing. His voice got quieter. Jennifer's the one who pushed for this, he said. She thinks the family business structure is too informal. Too much personal liability mixed with business operations. She's right, Tom. We need to clean it up. Jennifer's been in this family for what? 2 years? She's Brandon's wife. She's not signatory on anything. She has an MBA. So do half the people who went bankrupt in 2008. That's not fair. Neither is excluding me from decisions about my own liability. Dave exhaled slowly. What do you want? I want you to stop pretending this is about business efficiency. What's it about then? You tell me. You're the one who sent the message. We thought you'd be relieved. You're always talking about wanting to step back, retire, travel with Linda. I am stepping back, but on my terms, not yours. These are your terms. We're buying you out. With what money? Silence. The LLC has $240,000, I said. That covers operations for 3 months. Maybe 4 if you're careful. Equipment payments are $6,000 a month. Lease is $4,200. Payroll is another $8,000. You're already tight on cash flow. How exactly are you buying me out? We have investors interested. Who? Jennifer's father. I actually laughed. Her father, who you've never mentioned before? He owns commercial properties in Phoenix. He's interested in expanding here. So this isn't about cleaning up the structure. It's about bringing in Jennifer's father. It's about bringing in actual capital, real investment, not just credit and guarantees. I put in $40,000 cash when we started. That's real money. 2 years ago, we've tripled that. With my credit, my relationships, my reputation, which we're paying you back for. How much? He paused. We're still working out the details. Guess? $40,000, your initial investment. I'm signatory on $180,000 in equipment leases. Cosigner on a commercial lease worth $200,000 over the term. Personal guarantor on a $90,000 line of credit. You're offering me $40,000 to walk away from almost $500,000 in liability? We'll take over the liability. When? As part of the restructure. Which requires me to release the accounts so you can operate while you restructure, which puts me in the worst position possible. Maximum liability, zero control. Dave didn't answer. That's the part Jennifer's MBA didn't think through, I said. Or maybe it did? What's that supposed to mean? It means I'm not signing anything until the liability is transferred first. Get your investors, get your capital, get your lawyers. Do it right. I'll wait. We need the accounts open now. Then you shouldn't have started this now. Tom? I hung up, sat there in the truck, engine still off, watching a young couple load lumber into a trailer. The phone rang again immediately. I declined the call. Then a text from Jennifer. Can we please talk about this like adults? I stared at it for a long moment. Jennifer, Brandon's wife, 29 years old, marketing degree from Arizona State, never worked in construction, never run a business, met Brandon at a brewery 3 years ago. Now she's the one pushing restructure. I typed back, when you include me in family meetings, we can talk like adults. Sent. 3 dots appeared immediately. Jennifer, this isn't personal, me. It became personal when you excluded me. Jennifer, we were trying to protect you, me. From what? No response. I started the truck and drove to my brother's office. He worked for a commercial HVAC company on the south side. I'd gotten him the job 8 years ago when his bankruptcy was still fresh. Called in a favor with the owner, vouched for him. The receptionist recognized me. Hi, Tom. Is Dave expecting you? No. She looked uncertain. He's in a meeting. I'll wait. I sat in the lobby and pulled out my phone, opened the banking app, checked recent transactions on the LLC account. Last withdrawal was 3 days ago. $12,000. Description? Equipment deposit. I didn't recognize it. I scrolled back further. 2 weeks ago, $8,500. Description? Consulting fee. I'd never approved consulting fees. Further back, a month ago, $15,000. Description? Material advance. I opened the transaction details. The withdrawals were all authorized by Brandon, perfectly legal. He had withdrawal authority up to $20,000 per transaction, but I'd never seen these expenses. I logged into the business email account, searched for invoices matching the dates. Nothing. I checked the shared drive where we kept financial records. Nothing. I sat back in the lobby chair and thought about it. $12,000 plus $8,500 plus $15,000. That's $35,500 in unexplained withdrawals over the last month. The LLC had $240,000 in it when I checked this morning. How much had been there before these withdrawals? I pulled up the account history, went back 3 months. The account had peaked at $320,000 6 weeks ago. Since then, there'd been steady withdrawals. $20,000 here, $15,000 there. Always under Brandon's authorization limit, always with vague descriptions. The account was bleeding, and I'd never been told. Dave's office door opened. He came out with another guy in a company polo. They shook hands. The other guy left. Dave saw me and stopped. I said I was busy, he said. I know. This won't take long. He looked at the receptionist. She suddenly became very interested in her computer. Come on, Dave said. I followed him into his office. It was small, desk, computer, filing cabinets, photos of his kids on the wall. He closed the door and sat down heavily. What? He said. I pulled out my phone and showed him the transaction history. He looked at it. His face didn't change. So, he said, $35,000 in withdrawals I never saw. Brandon's handling day-to-day operations. Without documentation? It's all documented. You just haven't been checking. Because I trusted him. Then what's the problem? The problem is you tried to push me out while the account is being drained. It's not being drained, it's being used for business operations. Show me the invoices. I don't have them. Get them from Brandon. Tom, I'm not doing this here. I leaned forward. You sent me a message this morning saying you decided to move forward without me. Then I find out the business account has dropped $80,000 in 6 weeks with no documentation. You want to know why I locked the accounts? That's why. Dave's jaw tightened. You're making accusations. I'm asking questions. Same thing. Then answer them. He stared at me. Then he picked up his phone and typed something, set it down. I told Brandon you're here asking about the account. Good. He's not going to like it. I don't care. You should. He's trying to build something. You're tearing it down. I'm protecting what I built. You built it together. And now he wants me out. So I'm taking my protection with me. Dave shook his head slowly. When did you become this guy? What guy? The paranoid one, the one who thinks his family is screwing him. When my family had a meeting without me to decide my future. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? He didn't answer. My phone buzzed. Text from Brandon. Where are you? I showed Dave. He's looking for me. So? So maybe you should all start worrying about where I am and what I'm doing. I stood up and walked out. In the parking lot, my phone rang. Brandon. I got in my truck and drove. Friday morning, I got a call from First Republic Bank. Mr. Carter, this is Susan Williams. I'm the business account manager assigned to your LLC. Morning. I wanted to follow up on the account hold you requested. We've reviewed the documentation submitted by Brandon Carter, and it's insufficient. We need original operating agreements, updated ownership structure, and confirmation of liability transfer before we can release the hold. How long will that take? That depends on when we receive the documentation. Without it, we're extending the hold to 10 business days pending legal review. Understood. Also, Mr. Carter, I need to inform you that we've received a complaint from one of the other authorized parties. Brandon. I can't confirm that, but the complaint alleges that you're using the hold as a personal dispute mechanism rather than a legitimate business concern. What's the bank's position? As primary account holder, you have authority to request holds for any reason related to business operations or ownership changes. However, if the hold is determined to be retaliatory or in bad faith, it could affect your relationship with the bank. Define bad faith? Using account controls to harm the business or other parties without legitimate business justification. My justification is $67,000 in undocumented expenses and an attempted ownership change without liability transfer. That legitimate enough? Pause. I'll note that in the file. Anything else? That's all for now. We'll be in touch if we need additional information. She hung up. I sat at the kitchen table with coffee and my laptop. Linda was at the grocery store. The house was quiet. I pulled up the LLC account and checked recent activity. No new withdrawals. The hold was working. Then I checked the equipment lease account. There was a missed payment notification. Due date was yesterday. $6,000. They'd tried to withdraw from the LLC account. Hold blocked it. I called the equipment company. Wayland Leasing. This is Robert. Hi, Robert. Tom Carter. I have lease agreement 4421. Mr. Carter, yes. We tried to process your monthly payment yesterday, but it was declined. I know. There's an ownership transition happening. The account's temporarily locked. When will it be resolved? When I get proper documentation showing liability transfer. I see. Well, we need payment within 5 business days or the lease goes into default status. I understand. And Mr. Carter, as primary leaseholder, default would affect your credit standing. I'm aware. Can we expect payment by Wednesday? That depends on whether Brandon Carter provides documentation by then. I'm sorry, who? The operator on the lease. Sir, the lease is in your name. We don't have any other operators listed. He's been making the payments. Through your account, yes. But you're solely liable. I closed my eyes. Understood. We'll follow up Wednesday if we haven't received payment. Have a good day. He hung up. I opened a new spreadsheet and started listing every liability I had. Equipment lease, $6,000 a month, $180,000 total obligation. Commercial property lease, $4,200 a month, 6 months remaining. Performance bond, $280,000 contract, up to $28,000 penalty exposure. Line of credit, $90,000 limit, currently $40,000 drawn business credit card, $25,000 limit, $8,000 balance total, $571,000 in liability. And I'd been offered $40,000 to walk away from it. The front door opened. Linda came in with grocery bags. Help me, she said. I got up and carried bags to the kitchen. We unpacked in silence for a minute. Then she said, Margaret called me. What did she want? To tell me that Jennifer came by her office yesterday asking about options for breaking a lease cosigner obligation. I stopped unpacking. What did Margaret tell her? That it's not possible without the cosigner's consent or a court order. Good. Tom, Jennifer's looking for ways to cut you out legally. I know. That means lawyers, which means this gets expensive. I know. Linda put down a box of cereal and looked at me. What's the end game here? Force them to do it right. And if they can't? Then the business fails and they learn an expensive lesson. That lesson costs you too. Less than it costs them. She studied my face. You're okay with that? I'm okay with not being taken advantage of. That's not what I asked. I finished unpacking the bags, folded them, put them in the recycling. I don't know, I said finally. I know I'm not backing down. I know they started this. I know I'm not wrong, but I don't know where it ends. Does it end with you and Brandon not speaking? Maybe. Does it end with him bankrupt? If he doesn't fix his accounting, yeah. Does it end with you losing money? Probably some, but less than I'd lose if I just signed over control and hoped they didn't screw me. Linda sat down at the table. This is going to get worse before it gets better. I know. Are you ready for that? I thought about Brandon's hands on my jacket, about Jennifer's accusations, about Dave's message, about $67,000 in missing documentation. Yeah, I said, I'm ready. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Hello? Mr. Carter, this is James Preston. I'm an attorney representing Brandon Carter and Jennifer Martinez Carter. I looked at Linda. She closed her eyes. Go on, I said. I've been asked to reach out regarding the business dispute between you and my clients. They've requested that I inform you of their intention to pursue legal action if the account holds are not released within 24 hours. On what grounds? Breach of fiduciary duty, interference with business operations, abuse of account authority. Tell your clients that I'll release the holds as soon as they provide documentation for $67,000 in unexplained expenses and transfer all liability to their names. Mr. Carter, that's not a reasonable timeline. Then they shouldn't have started a restructure on an unreasonable timeline. My clients are prepared to file an injunction. File away. Discovery should be interesting. Excuse me? Your clients want me to release financial controls while they're bleeding money and hiding expenses. If this goes to court, I'll subpoena every transaction, every invoice, every contract. We'll find out exactly where that $67,000 went. You think they want that? Silence on the line. I'll convey your position to my clients, Preston said. You do that. He hung up. Linda was staring at me. You just dared them to sue you. They won't. How do you know? Because Brandon doesn't want anyone looking at those accounts closely. Neither does Jennifer. What if you're wrong? Then we go to court and I prove I'm right. Tom. Linda, they're bluffing. This whole thing is a bluff. They thought I'd just roll over because they're family. They thought I'd sign whatever they put in front of me because I'm the old guy who doesn't understand business anymore. They were wrong. She was quiet for a moment. Then, what happens when they figure out you're not bluffing? That's when it gets interesting. My phone buzzed. Text from Dave. You need to stop this. Now. I didn't respond. Another text. Brandon's talking about filing for bankruptcy. Walking away from everything. You're forcing him to destroy what he built. I typed back, he built it on my credit. If he walks away, I'm still liable. So no, he doesn't get to just quit. Dave, then what do you want? Me, I already told you, documentation and liability transfer. Same terms as always. Dave, he can't provide what you're asking for. Me, that's not my problem. Dave, it will be when this destroys the family. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I typed, the family was destroyed the moment you had a meeting without me. I'm just making sure I don't go down with it. Sent. Put the phone face down on the table. Linda was watching me. You really think the family's destroyed? Don't you? She didn't answer. We sat there in silence. Outside, a car door slammed. The mailman walking his route. Normal Friday afternoon in the suburbs. My phone buzzed again. Text from Jennifer. You're making a mistake. That's your opinion. Jennifer, you're going to regret this. I stared at that message. Then I typed, the only thing I regret is trusting you people without verification. Sent. She didn't respond. I put the phone away and looked at Linda. I'm going to the hardware store, I said. Why? Because sitting here waiting for them to make their next move is driving me crazy. Tom, I need to move. I'll be back in an hour. I grabbed my keys and left. The hardware store was the same as it always was, quiet, organized, nobody trying to restructure my life. I walked the aisles without buying anything, just needed space to think. My phone rang. Brandon. I almost didn't answer. Then I did. What? We're filing the injunction. Okay. That's it? Okay? You do what you need to do. I'll do what I need to do. Dad, this is going to cost both of us money we don't have. Then maybe you should have thought of that before trying to cut me out. I wasn't trying to cut you out. I was trying to restructure. Without me, without my input, without my consent, because we knew you'd fight us. So you went behind my back. We went forward without you. Same thing. He was quiet for a moment. Then, why are you doing this? You really don't know? No, I don't. We offered to buy you out, to protect your investment, to let you step back. What else do you want? I want you to treat me like a partner, not an obstacle. We tried. You tried to maneuver around me. That's not the same as including me. You're impossible to work with. Because I ask questions? Because I want documentation? Because I won't just sign whatever you put in front of me? Because you don't trust me. I stopped walking, stood there in the middle of the paint aisle with the phone pressed to my ear. You're right, I said. I don't trust you anymore. Silence. When did that happen? He asked quietly. When you had a family meeting without me? When you sent Dave to deliver a done deal? When you tried to restructure my liability without my consent? When you pulled $67,000 out of the business without documentation? When you grabbed me outside the fundraiser? Take your pick. I didn't want any of this. Neither did I. Then stop it. I didn't start it. He hung up. I stood there holding the phone, staring at paint chips I didn't need, wondering when everything had gone so wrong so fast. A store employee walked past, glanced at me, kept going. I put the phone in my pocket and walked to the exit. In the parking lot, I sat in my truck and checked my email. New message from the bonding company. Subject: Performance Bond, NNRO 7829. Project update request. Mr. Carter, we've received information that the Riverside project may be experiencing delays. As primary on the performance bond, we need confirmation of project status. Please respond within 48 hours. Someone had called them. Jennifer. Had to be. She was trying to trigger the bond claim early. Force my hand. I called Rick. Tom, got your email notice. Who called you? I can't disclose that. Was it Jennifer Martinez Carter? Pause. I really can't. Rick, she's trying to trigger a claim to force me into a corner. The project's behind, but it's still viable. 2 weeks behind schedule isn't catastrophic. 2 weeks behind with 6 months remaining is actually pretty concerning. They can make it up. Can they? Because the person who called suggested that the operator might be having financial difficulties. The operator is having a dispute with me. That's different than financial difficulties. Is it? Because from where I'm sitting, account holds and legal threats sound like financial difficulties. I closed my eyes. What do you need from me? Confirmation that the project is on track, or documentation showing how they plan to get back on track. I'll get it to you. Tom, if this project fails, you're on the hook for the penalty. You know that. I know. And if we find out you had information about problems and didn't disclose them, I'll get you an update by Monday. Okay, but Tom, whatever's going on with your family, don't let it sink you financially. Sometimes the smart move is to cut your losses. I'll keep that in mind. I hung up and sat there staring at nothing. Jennifer was escalating. The attorney was a bluff. But calling the bonding company was tactical, smart. She was trying to force me to choose between releasing control or accepting a bond claim. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. This is Phil from the Riverside project. Brandon said I should call you about the timeline. Can we talk? I called him. Phil, it's Tom Carter. Hey, thanks for calling back. Oh, listen, I got a weird call this morning from the bonding company asking about the project status. I know, someone reported concerns. Who? That's what I'm trying to figure out. How bad is the delay, really? Honestly, 2 weeks behind isn't great, but we can recover if Brandon gets more crew. The problem is he hasn't hired anyone yet. Says he's waiting on accounts to clear. Because I have them locked. I didn't know that was you. It is, but it's temporary. Okay. Well, for what it's worth, if he gets another guy or two, we can make the deadline. If he doesn't, we're looking at penalties. How much penalties? Probably $11,000 if we're 3 weeks late. Could go higher if materials keep getting delayed. What's delaying materials? Brandon says supply chain issues, but between you and me, I think it's payment problems. Suppliers want cash up front now. Why? Don't know, but it's slowing everything down. I thanked him and hung up. Payment problems. Suppliers wanting cash up front. Brandon's credit was failing, which meant my credit was next. I started the truck and drove home. Saturday morning, I woke up to 20 emails. The first one was from the equipment company. Second notice on the missed payment. 3 days to cure or default. The second was from Brandon's landlord. Rent was due yesterday. Account was locked. They needed payment by Monday or they'd start eviction proceedings. The third was from my own credit card company. Business card was over limit. Declined transactions from Friday. I got out of bed without waking Linda and went to the kitchen. Made coffee, opened my laptop, started going through everything systematically. The LLC account had been locked for 4 days now. In that time, 7 automatic payments had been declined. Equipment lease, rent, utilities, insurance, payroll, subcontractor payments, material suppliers. Every single one had sent notices. Some were threatening default, some were threatening legal action, some were just asking for updates, All of them were my problem, because my name was primary on everything. I started making a list of what needed to be paid to avoid immediate disaster. Equipment lease, $6,000 rent, $4,200 utilities, $800 insurance, $1,200, 2 subcontractors, $4,500 material suppliers, $2,800. Total, $1,900. The LLC account had $240,000 in it, more than enough. But releasing the hold meant giving Brandon access again, which meant he could drain it while I had no visibility into where it was going. I sat there drinking coffee and staring at numbers. If I paid these bills directly, I stayed in control, but it looked like I was running the business, which contradicted my claim that I was just protecting my liability. If I released the hold, Brandon could operate normally, but I'd have no guarantee he wouldn't make the problems worse. If I did nothing, everything would default. My credit would tank. I'd be liable for hundreds of thousands in broken contracts. There was no good option. My phone rang. Dave. I answered. Brandon's crew walked off yesterday, Dave said without preamble. Why? Because he couldn't make payroll, because you locked the accounts. The money's there. He just needs to provide documentation to release it. Tom, those guys have families. They can't wait for you and Brandon to sort out your issues. Those guys can file wage claims, which will come back to me, so Brandon better figure out how to pay them. How? You locked everything. I locked the business accounts. He has personal accounts. He has credit cards. He has options. All of which are maxed out because he's been covering business expenses personally while the LLC accounts were healthy. I paused. What does that mean? It means he's been floating the business with his own money for months, waiting for big contracts to pay out, using the LLC for operations but supplementing with personal funds when cash flow got tight. How much personal money? I don't know, 20, 30,000? Where'd he get that? Savings, credit cards, Jennifer's father. I closed my eyes. Jennifer's father gave him money? A loan, to keep things going while they worked on the restructure. How much of a loan? 50,000. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so when you locked the accounts, you didn't just freeze business operations. You froze the repayment plan for a loan Brandon took from his father-in-law. I was quiet for a moment. You didn't know, Dave said. No. That's the problem, Tom. You're making moves without understanding the whole picture. Because nobody told me the whole picture. Because you made yourself the enemy. I made myself the enemy by asking for documentation. You made yourself the enemy by assuming the worst. I didn't respond. The crew walked off, Dave said again. The Riverside project stopped. Phil called me this morning saying if they don't have crew Monday, he's calling the bonding company himself. He already called them. No, Jennifer called them. To get your attention. But Phil's going to call them for real. Because the project's actually failing now. I rubbed my face. What do you want me to do? Release the accounts, pay the crew, let Brandon get back to work. And the documentation? He'll get it to you, but he can't do it while he's in crisis mode. Dave, there's $67,000 in unexplained expenses. I need to know where that went before I give him access to another $240,000. What if it went to exactly what he said? Equipment, materials, subcontractors, just without perfect paper trails because he was focused on getting work done instead of bureaucracy? Then he should be able to reconstruct it. He tried. You called it forgeries. Because they were created this week to justify expenses from months ago. Because he doesn't have time to dig through 6 months of receipts while he's trying to save his business. We were both quiet. Then Dave said, "You know what I think." What? I think you're right about the documentation being sloppy. And I think Brandon's right about you not trusting him. And I think you're both so busy being right that you're destroying something that could have worked. It can still work. Can it? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're both willing to burn it down rather than admit you might be wrong. I'm not wrong about needing documentation. And he's not wrong about needing access to operate, so who wins? Nobody. Exactly. I heard Linda's footsteps on the stairs. I have to go, I said. Tom? I hung up. Linda came into the kitchen, looked at my face, sat down across from me. How bad? She asked. Brandon's crew walked off. Projects stopped. He's got a $50,000 loan from Jennifer's father. Everything's defaulting. She processed that. What are you going to do? I don't know. You have to do something. I know. You could release the hold, pay the immediate bills, give him a chance to get things back on track. And if he doesn't, then at least you tried. He'll just drain the account and leave me holding the bag. Maybe. Or maybe he'll surprise you. He hasn't surprised me yet, because you're not giving him the chance. I looked at her. You think I'm wrong? I think you're so focused on being right that you're not seeing the damage. The damage was already there. I'm just exposing it. No, you're accelerating it. Brandon's accounting was sloppy, but you locking everything turned sloppy into catastrophic. So I should just let him keep operating with no oversight? You should figure out a middle ground. Some control for you, some access for him, some accountability for both of you. How? I don't know, but you're smart. So is he. Figure it out before you both lose everything. She got up and poured coffee. I sat there staring at my laptop. Middle ground. What would that look like? Release enough funds to cover immediate bills. Keep the rest locked. Require weekly documentation going forward. Set spending limits. Monthly reviews. Basically treat him like a credit risk, which would piss him off. But it was better than nothing. I opened a new email to the bank. Subject: partial hold release. Specific payments only. I listed the 7 payments that needed to go through. Equipment lease, rent, utilities, insurance, subcontractors, material suppliers, payroll. Total, $19,500. Requested that those payments be authorized. Everything else remained locked pending documentation. Then I added, going forward, I'm requesting that any withdrawal over $5,000 requires dual authorization from myself and Brandon Carter. Withdrawals under $5,000 can be processed by either party, but both parties will receive transaction notifications immediately. Sent it at 7:42 a.m. Then I called Brandon. He answered on the first ring. What? I sent the bank authorization to release funds for immediate bills, payroll, rent, the works. Silence. Why? He said finally. Because letting everything default doesn't help either of us. So you're releasing the hold? Partially, enough to cover this week's critical payments. The rest stays locked until we have a better system. Oh, what system? Dual authorization on anything over $5,000. Real-time notifications for both of us on all transactions. Weekly documentation review. You're treating me like a criminal. I'm treating you like a business partner I don't fully trust, which is where we are. I don't accept those terms. Then the hold stays in place and everything defaults. Your choice. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, if I agree to this, you pay the bills today. My crew gets paid today. The Riverside project restarts Monday. That's the idea. And you stop making moves behind my back. I haven't made any moves behind your back. Everything I've done has been in response to what you did. Jennifer said you called the bonding company. Jennifer called the bonding company. I responded to their inquiry. She said you were trying to sabotage the project. She's wrong. But if she wants to keep escalating, I can show you sabotage. Don't threaten me. I'm not. I'm drawing a line. You want to operate the business? Fine. Do it with oversight. You want to keep fighting me? Fine. But understand that I have more leverage than you do. Because you're on all the accounts. Because I built the foundation you're standing on, and I can remove it anytime I want. More silence. Then, I'll try your system. For now, but if you pull anything else, I won't, as long as you don't. Fine. He hung up. Linda was watching me. That sounded civil. It was a temporary truce, not peace. It's a start. Maybe. My phone buzzed. Email from the bank confirming receipt of my payment authorization. They'd process it by end of business today. Then another email. From Brandon. Forwarded to the crew. Payroll will be processed today. Sorry for the delay. Back to work Monday. Thanks for your patience. No mention of me, no mention of the dispute, just handling business. I closed my laptop and finished my coffee. You hungry? Linda asked. Yeah. We made breakfast together. Eggs, toast, bacon. Sat at the table and ate without talking much. Normal Saturday morning, except nothing felt normal anymore. My phone buzzed again. Text from Jennifer. Brandon told me about the new arrangement. I don't like it, but I understand why you're doing it. Thank you for releasing the payments. I stared at that message. Thank you. First civil communication from her in a week. I didn't respond. 10 minutes later, another text from her. Can we meet? Just us? Talk without Brandon and Dave. Me. Why? Jennifer. Because I think we got off on the wrong foot. And I think we both want what's best for Brandon. Maybe we can find common ground. Me. Or maybe you want to manipulate me directly instead of through Brandon. Jennifer. That's not fair. Me. Neither is excluding me from family meetings. Jennifer. You're right. That was wrong. I'm sorry. I read that message 3 times, showed it to Linda. She's apologizing, Linda said, or she's playing chess. Either way, meeting with her can't hurt. It can if she's recording it. Then meet somewhere public. Keep it professional. I thought about it. Jennifer was smart, dangerous, but she was also the one pushing Brandon toward the restructure. If I could understand her thinking, maybe I could get ahead of the next move. I typed, "Fine. Coffee shop on Main Street, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Jennifer, I'll be there, thank you." I put the phone down. "You think she's sincere?" I asked Linda. "I think she's strategic, but that doesn't mean she's wrong about finding common ground." "What if she's setting me up?" "For what?" "I don't know, but I've underestimated her once already." "Then don't underestimate her twice. Go in smart. Stay in control." I nodded. Sunday morning would be interesting. Sunday morning, the coffee shop was half empty. I got there 15 minutes early, bought black coffee, and sat at a table by the window where I could see the door. Jennifer arrived at exactly 9 a.m. She was dressed casually. Jeans, sweater, no makeup. She looked younger than usual, less polished. She ordered something complicated and sat down across from me. "Thanks for meeting," she said. "You apologized. That got my attention." "I meant it." "Did you?" She wrapped her hands around her cup. "Look, I know you don't like me. I know you think I'm some outsider who showed up and started causing problems. And maybe you're right, but I love Brandon, and I'm trying to help him build something, that's all. By excluding his father. By protecting him from complicated family dynamics. I'm not complicated. I just want documentation." "You're extremely complicated. You're proud. You're stubborn. You built something 20 years ago, and you can't let go of control. I built something that still exists, and it only exists because I maintained control. Maybe, but Brandon's not you. He needs space to make his own decisions, even if they're wrong. Not when he's making them with my money and my credit." She was quiet for a moment. Then, "What if we could restructure in a way that protects you but gives Brandon autonomy?" "That's what you said you were doing. Then you tried to buy me out for $40,000 while leaving me liable for $400,000. That was a first offer. We would have negotiated." "You didn't leave room for negotiation. You sent me a done deal. Because we thought you'd fight any change at all? So you decided to ambush me instead." She sighed. "You're right. That was wrong. We should have included you from the start. Why didn't you?" "Honestly, because I was afraid you'd talk Brandon out of it. He respects you so much that I thought if you push back, he'd drop the whole thing. Maybe he should have. Or maybe we should have done it better." I took a sip of coffee. "What do you want, Jennifer?" "I want you and Brandon to stop destroying each other." "I'm not destroying him. I'm protecting myself." "You locked his business accounts. His crew walked off. His project almost failed. How is that not destructive?" "I locked the accounts after he tried to exclude me from decisions about my own liability. That's defensive, not destructive." "It's both." I didn't argue. She leaned forward slightly. "What would it take for you to release full control?" "Full documentation of all expenses, complete liability transfer, real equity in exchange for my initial investment. Not a buyout. Equity." "Brandon doesn't want you as an equity partner." "Then he shouldn't have taken my money and credit. He was your son. You wanted to help him. And now I'm his father asking to be treated fairly." She sat back. "You know what I think? I'm sure you'll tell me. I think this isn't about money or documentation. I think it's about respect. You feel disrespected, Brandon feels controlled, and neither of you will back down because backing down feels like losing." "Maybe. So what if we reframe it? Not as winning or losing, but as finding a structure that works for everyone?" "I'm listening." "What if we bring in a neutral third party, an accountant or a business advisor, someone who can review the books, verify expenses, and create a system that gives you oversight without making Brandon feel micromanaged? That costs money. Less than lawyers, less than default, less than destroying the family." I thought about it. "Who pays for the advisor?" "We split it. I'm not paying for someone to justify expenses I should have been able to verify myself. Then think of it as paying for peace of mind and a path forward." "What's Brandon's position on this?" "I haven't talked to him about it yet. I wanted to see if you'd even consider it first." "Why?" "Because if you say no, there's no point in fighting with him about it." I looked at her carefully. She was calm, reasonable, strategic. This was chess. "What's your real angle?" I asked. "Excuse me?" You didn't come here just to propose a neutral advisor. You came here because you're trying to manage me, figure out my position, find my weak spots. She smiled slightly. You're paranoid. I'm careful. There's a difference. Okay, you want my real angle? Here it is. Brandon's stressed. He's not sleeping. He's fighting with you, fighting with me, fighting with his crew. He's one bad week away from a breakdown, and I'm trying to prevent that. By removing me. By creating space for him to operate without feeling like he's constantly being judged. He wouldn't feel judged if he kept proper records. Tom, he's a contractor, not an accountant. He's good at building things, not at paperwork. Then he should hire someone who is good at paperwork. We were trying to. That's what the restructure was about, bringing in professional management. Jennifer's father, among others. So this was always about bringing in outside investors. It was about making the business sustainable. You were supposed to benefit from that too. By being pushed out. By being protected. You could have walked away with your investment returned and no ongoing liability. That's a win. Except I don't trust you to actually transfer the liability, and I don't trust Brandon to successfully manage a business he can't properly document. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, so we're stuck. Unless someone blinks. You're not going to blink. Neither is Brandon. Which means this ends badly for everyone. Probably. She finished her coffee. I'm trying to help. You know that, right? I know you think you are. What's that supposed to mean? It means your definition of help and mine are different. You think help means removing obstacles. I think help means building sustainable systems. And you think I'm the obstacle. I think you pushed Brandon to make moves he wasn't ready for, and now you're trying to manage the fallout. She stood up. I came here in good faith. So did I. Doesn't feel like it. Because I'm not agreeing with you? Because you're not even trying. I am trying. I released the payment hold. I authorized dual controls. I'm giving Brandon a chance to prove he can operate responsibly. What else do you want? I want you to let go. Of what? Of the resentment, the suspicion, the need to be right. I looked up at her. When you figure out how to do that, let me know, because I'm pretty sure Brandon hasn't let go of any of those things either. She shook her head and walked out. I sat there alone, finishing my coffee. My phone buzzed. Text from Linda. How'd it go? Me. About how you'd expect. Linda. So, not well. Me. She wants me to let go. I want her to stop pushing Brandon into bad decisions. Neither of us is getting what we want. Linda. Did you try to find middle ground? Me. She proposed bringing in a neutral advisor. I said maybe, but I don't think she's being sincere. Linda. Why not? Me. Because she's too strategic. Everything she says has multiple layers. I can't trust someone who's always playing chess. Linda. Sounds like someone else I know. I stared at that message. She was right. I was doing the same thing Jennifer was, thinking 3 moves ahead. Protecting my position, refusing to show weakness. The difference was I'd been forced into it. Or had I? I thought about the group chat going silent, about Dave's message, about Brandon trying to restructure. Had they really been trying to screw me? Or had I turned a clumsy attempt at reorganization into a war? My phone rang. Brandon. Jennifer said you met with her, he said. I did. Why didn't you tell me? She asked to meet. I met. Nothing more. What did you talk about? She proposed bringing in a neutral third party to review finances, create oversight systems. And I said maybe? What's maybe mean? It means I'm willing to consider options that give both of us what we need. Which is what? For me? Documentation and protection. For you? Autonomy and access. He was quiet. You really think we can find that balance? I don't know, but I'm willing to try if you are. Under your terms. Under terms we both agree to. That's what neutral means. Another long silence. Then, okay. Okay, what? Okay, let's try the advisor thing, but I pick who it is. We both pick. Fine. We both interview candidates, we both approve, and we both pay. How much is this going to cost? Less than lawyers, less than defaults, less than blowing everything up. He laughed quietly. No humor in it. This is insane. Yeah, I never wanted this. Neither did I. So how did we get here? I thought about that. Because you stopped talking to me and I stopped trusting you. I stopped talking to you because you never listened. I stopped listening because you stopped being honest. I was always honest. Were you? because $67,000 in undocumented expenses says otherwise. I told you what those were for. You told me stories, not documentation. He exhaled slowly. This is why we can't work together anymore. Maybe. Or maybe this is why we need better systems. Or maybe we just need distance. Distance while I'm still liable for everything doesn't work for me. Then what does? Documentation, transfer, equity or clean exit. Same terms I've been asking for. Which I can't provide right now. Then we're stuck. Yeah. Neither of us spoke for a moment. Then Brandon said, the advisor idea. Let's do it, but fast, because I can't keep operating like this. Neither can I. I'll find some names. You find some names. We'll meet middle of the week. Okay. And Dad? Yeah? Jennifer's trying to help. She's not the enemy. I know. Do you? I know she thinks she's helping. Whether that's the same as actually helping is still up for debate. He hung up. I sat there alone in the coffee shop watching people come and go. My phone buzzed. Email from the bank. Subject? Account activity alert. Someone had tried to withdraw $8,000. Transaction declined due to dual authorization requirement. I checked who initiated it. Brandon. I called him back. Yeah, he answered. What's the $8,000 withdrawal for? Materials for the Riverside project. That's over $5,000. You need my authorization. I know, I'm calling to get it. What materials? Drywall, supplies, the usual. Send me the invoice. I don't have it yet. I need to order first. Get a quote. Send it to me, I'll approve or deny. That takes time. That's the system you agreed to. Silence. This is going to slow everything down, he said. This is going to keep us both informed. It's going to drive me crazy. Then keep better records and we can revisit the threshold. He hung up again. 10 minutes later, an email came through. Quote from a supplier. $7,800 for materials. Delivery Friday. I compared it to previous purchases. The numbers looked reasonable. I replied, approved, proceed. Then I called the bank and authorized the transaction. This was the new normal. Every major decision requiring coordination, every expense requiring justification. It was exhausting. But it was better than blindly trusting. I drove home. Linda was in the garden. I helped her pull weeds for an hour without talking much. My phone buzzed periodically. Emails, texts, updates, but nothing urgent. Just the slow grind of trying to operate a business with no trust and too much liability. Monday would be the real test. The crew was supposed to be back at Riverside. The project was supposed to restart. Brandon was supposed to prove he could operate under the new system. And I was supposed to trust him enough to not micromanage every decision. Neither of us was probably going to succeed, but we were going to try.